Well, you guys are in for a treat tonight because we're going to be hearing about the work that's been going on in India due to the efforts largely from Pastor Louis in Bradford, Ohio. So Pastor Louis and Pastor Kingsley, if you guys would come up at this point. And first of all, we're going to be talking to Pastor Louis just briefly, and then the rest of the time, most of the time, we're going to be talking to Pastor Kingsley. But Pastor Louis, just update us upon, Pastor Louis was here probably about almost 6 months ago, and shared with us on what God had laid upon him to do in India. And he's going to give us an update of what's happened, and then we're going to hear from Kingsley, who's been one of the recipients of what's going on here about his ministry there. So Pastor Louis, what's going on? How are things going with the fundraising and what's been happening?
Well, Kingsley is the son of the gentleman, the district superintendent, that hosted me or invited me over to India. And Kingsley is the project coordinator of the various ministries that are being opened up over there. But when his father invited me over there, he outlined for me various needs that they had. And some of you may remember what some of that was, but there is a great opportunity to win souls for the Lord over there in India, but they lack the resources to implement ministries to facilitate that. And so his father communicated to me these needs. First of all was a car for the district center. As I had said 6 months ago, the pastors themselves in the various churches do not have cars, and oftentimes they rely on the district superintendent to help them get around to trainings and to get new ministries established and so forth. So the first project that the Bradford Church took on was to raise $31,500 for a new automobile for the district. And a few months into that, Kingsley's father contacted me, and he said that they had found a car that was suitable at much less cost, and he asked for permission to have only $21,000 designated for the new SUV, which is built in India, and to take the $10,500 that would be left over and to purchase a farm of sorts with that. And Kingsley will be talking to you about that a little further. One of the other projects that was funded was a commercial water purification system. That is an outreach ministry so that when a lot of the communities do not have water sources, so they will come into the city to get water. They'll haul it home, either carrying it by hand as they walk, on bicycles, motorcycles, whatever the case might be. But this way, instead of giving out water that is impure, the church would be able to give out very clean, very pure water. So that was one of the projects that was taken on and funded. There's also been child development centers being funded. One of the projects that we are still working on, we're about $5,000 short yet at this time, are the 3 training centers for adults. And this would be to give free education to the poorest of the poor that now may be working from early morning until 8 o'clock in the evening in the tea fields picking tea leaves for maybe $1 a day. And oftentimes there'll be both parents and sometimes including the children too working in the tea fields just in order to survive. And if we can give one of the parents free education, then they could get a little bit better job. The children may be able to stay in school then and get educated. So we're trying to break this cycle of poverty. So that in a nutshell is some of the projects that we are taking on at this time.
And the total goal was how much did you want to raise?
The total goal was right at $50,000. $50,000. Currently, we are at about 45 that's been raised.
It's amazing. So they're almost there. And what God did through laying upon Pastor Louie's heart, he met with Kingsley's father at the time, right? The conference here in the United States, and one thing led to another. This church in Bradford, Ohio, has spearheaded this effort. We were part of that. The church at Napoleon has been part of that to come alongside them. But this is primarily the church at Bradford, Ohio, has been doing this. So that's exciting. So, Kingsley, welcome. Pastor Kingsley, welcome. And tell the people here, you're, in addition to, I didn't know how important you were until today, because in addition to just being a pastor, what else do you do for the church in the Nazarene in all of India?
Well, he's a great dad and husband, so we always say the first ministry is at home. So.
Absolutely.
My name is Kingsley Jayakumar, and I'm 32. I'm married in 2012. I have a 2 year, 6 month old daughter. Her name is Jerusha, and my wife's name is Pramila. I ran my Bachelor and Master of Divinity and MA in Christian Studies. I was pastoring since 2006, and for 3-4 years. Along that, I was teaching in a South Asian Nazarene Bible College as a part-time teacher. Then later on, I moved. I worked as a part-time QuestCC.Church planter. Then later, I moved as the NCM project manager for our districts. Then I think that usually behind my testimony that I called to be a missionary, so that my God's telling me that I should go out from a place to other place to be a missionary. When I moved to North India, which is a different place to my states, I was there for 2 years, and due to some unwanted situations, the village, the tribal people, they kicked me out, so I came back to my district. They asked me to not stay back there, so I was back to my district. Then I started to be as a pastor again.
Now, Kingsley, could you expand a little bit on why the tribal people asked you to leave the community?
I spoke lies. That's the point. I told them I came as a social worker. They don't know I'm a pastor or a missionary. Once they saw me after like 16, 17 months after that, people saw me that I'm preaching, and I gave baptism for nearly 200 people on a mass baptism along with my pastors. So the village tribe, the Hindu leader, they saw that program was going on. So next day they came to my home, they started to quarrel, and they started trying to beat me and trying to push my wife. She was pregnant of 7 months, and the situation was very bad. This is the reason they come to know that I'm ministering, that I'm sharing the gospel with the people.
So it is because of their Hindu faith that they did not want you sharing the gospel.
Yes.
Is what it came down to.
Yeah.
And you entered into this area with very little or nothing other than what you could carry on your back. And little by little you established a home with a few pieces of furniture, and then you left with what?
It's kind of interesting story that I was missionary as a single. Then later on, the second day I was with my wife, because I found my wife in NYC after 9 years. Then I was married, but before I'm married, that I gave a token of my money to the house owner, that I would say that after 3 months I'll come with my wife. Could you give me your house? He said yes. Then I brought my wife after my marriage, and we went to the house, and he said, we are not going to give you a house because somebody come to your house. So on the first day, me and my wife on road, there is no house, so we are standing under the tree. The state of Rajasthan is the very hottest place, and the desert. We won't use the bike or motorbike or car, whatever it may be. But part of the place we used to walk a couple of miles, or we use the camels to ride. And on the first day we are on the road, on the sunlight is very hot. So a truck came and we asked help to go to the little town. We among the tribal people. So there is no any kind of rich people, there's only one man. So we were able to find him, and he said that he gave a house for us, and we were able to stay 8 months there in that house. And there is no kitchen, so we started to cook, make a stove down, and in the beginning we find difficult, but we always the mind goes to us that this is what God called us, that we should stick on the same thing that we do fulfill God's vision, His purpose.
Now, when you called this a house, though, but you were on was it a dirt floor?
Yes, they used to keep the grains, the harvest, they used to keep the grains. So they asked us to stay for 30 minutes outside. So the kind of big people, they've taken all the grains, rice and wheat outside.
So
They've given us.
So this was actually what we would call a storage shed for grains.
Storage sheds, yeah, correct.
That you stored.
Yeah, we cleaned it up. Me and my wife cleaned, and after that we slept in the dorm. We survived for 2 months. Then we purchased chairs and cars and everything.
And did you say you baptized 200 people?
It's kind of mass baptism. It's a tribal people. They don't know how to read Bibles. There is no in their language Bible. There is no alphabets in their Bibles. So they speak their language, but no letters for them. It's kind of, we have a church, in 18 months, we planted 8 church. Each church has the 60 to 200 church members. So it's kind of, we call all the 6 church people kind of, thank God we had a mass baptism.
That's amazing. What are some of the projects that you see going on with this money, and what's going on over there?
I'm from Western Tamil Nadu districts. If we say this is India and we are from Indian Ocean, I'm from the lowest part of South India, which is close to Sri Lanka. So we have, there are 14 districts in India, and we are from the Western Tamil Nadu district. And one of our district has a lot of projects in our district. We work among the HIV/AIDS people, leprosy, and among the children's in a various way, child laborers, or especially among the girls. We have different projects. We have water source projects and feeding hunger children and giving educations. There are a couple of more projects we have in our districts. We have 2 Nazarene Compassion Ministry Child Development Center. Other than we have 3 self-supported district child development centers.
Tell us a little bit about one of the projects you and I were, Pastor Lou was sharing, you shared too, about the GOAT project. That was fascinating to me. And just tell them all about the GOAT project.
It's kind of, I don't know about when my dad, the district superintendent, and met Pastor Louis in the General Assembly. I was working as a national youth director for India, and the district asked me to come up to this ministry, which has it tied up with the your church, and Bradford Church of Nazarene has come up with the new projects. So I'm starting my work with the new project. I given a proposals to my district. This is what is right now among the community. We find out a lot of jobless people in our community, especially women does not get a job. And we find out, we take 3-4 churches, and we find out people in the church, and we give each family 2 goats. So they need to pay money back to us without any interest. And they need to give the first baby to the church, to the project. So especially if I give the 2 goats to Pastor Louis, to this family, and to the pastor, and they need to pay the money back to the projects without any interest in 3 terms. And also they need to give the first baby to the church, so that the project will
So they actually pay for the goats over a period of time back to the district.
Yeah.
Plus they give the first baby goat, the first kid, back to the district too, as somewhat of the interest.
Yes. I take 1 baby from him and 1 baby from him, and they give to another family. So they keep on, the project will go, and when they're giving money back to the project, and this project will shift into the other church.
And that makes a big difference in people's lives.
Yes.
Right? How does that affect their lives?
We are not giving a fish. We are teaching them how to fish. That's it.
So you're giving them the opportunity to sell goat milk, to maybe make cheese, or
We don't use the cheese and milk, and we raise the goat for the meat.
For the meat, okay.
Tell us about some of the other projects that are going on with this money, and what's going on and how it's being used.
Telling about the quite interesting things about India, it's kind of the second population country in the world. Geographically, we are not equal to the states. There are so much of place where we do ministry in our districts. Especially I want to talk beginning with about the girls. who does not, they give a proper respect to the equal of the boys. If there is a baby boy, they give a sweets. They share the sweets with the other neighbors. They have a big joy. I had a boy baby, I had a boy baby. If there is a girl baby, they will not give a sweets. They say, it's a girl baby, that's it. They have very sad. That in our church, there is a lady recently working since 1.5 years. Because she has 3 girls, her husband left her. And she was trying to commit suicide with her children because she is helpless. She has no house and family have been thrown away from her. Then some of our women ministry able to cross the house and find out the reason what happened. Since that time she is coming to house. I'm trying to say there is no value for women in India since long back. You see, 100 years before her husband died, the Hindus used to burn their bodies. When the body is burning, the woman should get in the fire. Alive, she need to die. Later, time is changing. They had a pity on the woman. They said, they shaved the woman's head. They said, you need to be inside the house. You should not come out from the house. Again, later, they had a pity on the woman. They said, you can come out, but you need to wear only the white dress. No any other things, no any ornaments, anything else. If you see Indian women, they used to wear a lot of ornaments and a different way of dressing, everything. So they're trying to make ugly women so that the other men should not see and attract her. Even today, most women in India, they will not marry again if the husband is died or divorced, anything else. So there is no value for a woman. The boy goes to the school, but the girl be at home cleaning the house and taking care of the cattle and all other things. So the picture of the girls always kind of poor. The boys always show as a rich. Kind of they have a good dress for the boys and a good thing food. You see always the girls are being dirty and doesn't have the value of that one. So we saw the church has seen our work to teach the community the equal rights for the girls also. We give them, we teach them. So we ask them. So our first priority for the community, for the Child Development Center, for the orphans, semi-orphans, and physically disabled people, and for the girls. Till today, if you Google in their computer, you can see in the place named called Dharmaburi in my state, the girl baby used to kill. There are few ways. You can take a paddy with a grain, you can put it into the baby mouth, so the baby is stuck and not able to breathe and baby died couple of minutes. Number 2, a plant is there which is very poison. They take a milk and they drop this, 2 drops is enough. The baby can die within a few seconds. Till today, today, it's taking place. Because nothing a big story behind this one. Always the parents afraid of so much about the word called dowry. Dowry. They fear about the futures. It's always when a girl is getting married, the father need to pay so much kind of furniture, kind of car and bike or EE. The family can able to afford that one. So then only can able to the girl get married in India.
So these babies are being killed because of economic reasons.
Economical reasons.
Because the dowry and
thinking about the futures is better. You cannot. It's very difficult to cut the tree, but it's very easy to pluck the plant and throw it away. That's a thing they are doing. Yeah, this is the point of thing. So we have been trying to minister them, and we have a kind of if anybody is doing like that one, we work with the government. We have take them to put them in prison, and we teach them, we counsel them, the value of the girl baby also, so on things, etc.
You alluded to this before when they kicked you out of that village where you had such a success, but how is the Christian church, and how are Christians being persecuted there? And I know it comes up and down, but how are things going right now and what's going on with being persecuted?
When my dad started ministry in 1979, that time there was a persecution and he was faced so much of trouble. Later on, the time has been, the times changes, everything has become smooth.
Now, you might explain that changed because of the government, who was in the
It
government.
depends on always the government. Before the government or the Congress governments, they always support Christian ministry, Christians and Muslims, everything, they treat very equally. The present government, you might have heard about the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, He is basically from the Hindu organization fellow. And he worked for the Hindu organizations who always says, I don't want to say the word from the sitting in the church, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. It's a slogan of Hindus. So they always say they're trying to tell the other people to say this word, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. It's kind of praising God, like Hallelujah, praise the Lord. This is the word. So it's kind of, present government is again trying to persecute the Christians. They forcibly converted Christians to Hinduism, Muslims to Hinduism. So it became a kind of cold war already started between the Hindus and Muslims. You know, Christians right now, always in India, quite long before, like 6-7 years before, the Nazarene church has been burned, so many churches has been burned, and pastor has been killed in the state name called Odisha. So this has been that same government, and the same government has come now. It's kind of Bharatiya Janata Party. I don't know, we don't know exactly how this government has been formed really, and right now we are facing to share the gospel. Especially, we are very difficult to show the Jesus Film movie on street. And I was doing Jesus Film ministry. There are people, come gather like 400, 300, minimum there are 400 people who come and watch the movie. But now we need to get a permission from the police station. We need to take a permission from the village presidents. Either one, we are not able to get it. So we are able to show the Jesus Film movie in a house. And that we are facing the house because we have a high caste, low caste, middle class families. The high caste family will not allow the low caste family to come to in the house. So we are finding very difficult nowadays. We can able to show maybe 20 or 15 people come to one home to watch Jesus Film movies. This has been so much in North India and South India, equally has been affected by our government.
If you don't know what the Jesus Film is, it's a film about the life of Christ, and then people are given the opportunity. It's powerful, and it's in many, many different countries, many, many different languages. The Church of the Nazarene has supported this all over the world, and then they ask the people to give their life to Christ at the end of that, right?
Yes, we have basically in nearly 9 languages, we have a Jesus Film ministry in India. Through Jesus Film and Nazarene Compassion Ministry, we have planted thousands of churches in India. Especially, I want to tell you, we have, being a NY director for India, there are officially, as per 2011, we have a 27,000 NY membership in India. We have thousands of churches, but not like this. We have maybe you have seen a coconut tree, the leaves, we have roofs on that one, and there are very few churches in City Church, we have a good buildings, and rest we are worshipping under the mango tree.
And by the way, when you give weekly to Quest, a portion of what we give, I think we do it twice a month, goes to these Nazarene ministries all over the world. So the money that you give, and we probably don't talk about that enough, the money that you give every week, a portion of that funds projects like this that are ongoing. What Louis did was extra, and it was needed, and we're going to continue to do that, and Louis will, but just your everyday giving makes a difference in the world. And I probably don't, and it's my fault, I don't talk enough about that and about what the Church of Nazarene is doing, but that's amazing. So if you gave $1 in the last 5 years, part of that dollar went to fund different ministries all over the world. So
the $21 each kids, if you sponsor $21 per month, they get an education, they get a medical treatment, and they get education, medical treatment, and food, and the community awareness, kind of HIV/AIDS, smoking, alcohol, and so forth, like for girls. So this all covered. We are not focusing on one child. We are focusing on behind the child of the caring about the family also. So your contribution is, brings the smile and the future lives for the children.
Now, when you're talking about the children's development centers, they will only accept one child per household into this program, and these are children from the various poor of the poor homes. So they would accept maybe one child from this home, one child from over there, one child from over here. But the idea is that they're raising these children in a Christian environment with the education that they need to succeed. They teach them how to be leaders. They teach them hygiene. They teach them a job skill, things like that. But the idea is that when these children go back permanently into their neighborhoods, that these kids as teenagers are prepared to begin to change the culture of the neighborhood that they live in. So the church is working at breaking the cycle of poverty by changing the culture using these children that are being trained and taught.
Our children,
Go ahead.
our children are kind of, we find out why they are so much weak. The reason that father, mother, or mother alone, or father, they need to go to the job morning 6:30 in the morning. Because if they're not going to the particular place and they will lose a job because they're not permanent job, daily job, just for $2 or $3 per day, the whole day they works. So if they're not going for on the time on particular place, the pick-uppers, they select the people and they'll finish up the morning selecting the people. So whatever they prepare last night food, the children will eat in the morning and go to school. And the school will provide the lunch for them. They need each children, they need to walk the 6 miles or 7 miles every day without shoe in the Indian hot sunny morning. They go to school, like even for our school starts, children started from the age of 3. They go to school. Our CDC children, child development children has from the age from 3 to till the grade of 9. So they go to school like 3, 6 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, they come back again to the same level to the child development center with so much of hunger, with hungry stomach, And after that, without empty stomach, they go to home and the mom will come like 8:30. Before mother comes, they sleep with hungry only. So the mother, the same food they eat in the morning. That is what we find out. So what we're thinking, we didn't try to start this program. We are looking forward to start to feed these children at least one good hot meal, because Indians we eat always hot meal. Nothing more, just rice and dal, one vegetable, that's it. So this food I mean, because I don't know how much precious for you, I don't know which food is so much you like, but our children eat, maybe like once in a month, 1 egg. Once in a year, 1 time, chicken, that's it. It's a big thing for them. Because the reality which I have seen, which our church has been provided, maybe we are both like a child development kids, we have each other in our plate eggs and we say, egg, you've seen this, my egg is big, it's white. So egg is very surprised for them. So when we see this one, automatically, the tears comes in our eyes, and why don't your church, our church is, so this is the place to show our love and for these people to give our hands to live down. That's what we're doing.
Louis, I want to talk to you before we come back to Kingsley, but you're $5,000 from your goal, and you're going to go back to India, it looks like, right now. When and where? Tell us about that.
I've been talking to Kingsley's father about the possibility of going back to India the last part of May of next year.
And do you are you going to, with the projects complete, is your work done there? Are you going to pray about it, or not know, or what's going on with that?
I'm not absolutely certain yet, but when I started into this, I had told Kingsley's father that I was going to commit to be working at this, working with them for at least 5 years.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what the project will be or what the goal will be, but I believe that I will be there for quite a number of years yet.
So it sounds like things are going to continue.
Yes.
Let us know. Let us know. We want to, and when you go, let us know. We'd like to help you with that trip too. Plus, we'd like to do that too.
While you've said that, I was curious as to what it cost Kingsley to fly over here. He'd originally told me that he was going to be coming, was it in February? And his mother-in-law got sick, and Kingsley and his wife gave some money to his mother-in-law for her medical care and so forth. But I was always kind of curious as to, can you buy airline tickets cheaper over there than we can to go that direction? But he shared with me that the airline ticket to fly to the United States had cost him 16 months worth of his wages working for the church. And you know, when I look at my call to go over there, I put out a fleece to the Lord, and I said, I really don't want to go. I'm not that fond of spicy food, and they like a lot of spicy food over there. And I'm a little bit of a homebody, but I put out a fleece and I said, Lord, if you really want me to go, I said, I can afford the plane ticket. But would you send somebody, just one person, even $50, to send one person unsolicited to come to me offering some money to help pay the cost? And within a matter of days, I had a gentleman come to me and he said he had been on a work and witness trip, and he come back and he had a little bit of money left over, and he handed me a check for $200, and he said, I know you go on mission trips once in a while, and he said, here's $200, put toward your next trip. Within 2 weeks, various people had brought me $1,900. And I look at that, and then I look at Kingsley sacrificing for 16 months to come over here. And I'm humbled. And I'm almost ashamed of myself. But time and time again, I see how God has been working through this. And it's a great ministry partnership with India, but it's also transforming lives in Bradford. And so I see God's plan in all this being far bigger than what I ever imagined.
It's amazing. How much was that, your plane ticket? Do you know in US dollars?
Roughly 2,000.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to contribute to that, I'll tell you right now, we're going to pay that for you. It's paid. If you want to contribute to that, we'll do it, and I'll talk to some people. We'll pay that for you. And if you want to give tonight or the next couple of weeks, we'll get it, but we'll find that money for it. We'll pay for that plane ticket. So we'll take care of that for you. And we're going to continue to pray. Louis, let us know. We'll do everything we can when you find out what the rest of the projects are. If we raise more than $2,000, we'll give it to Louis for the extra $5,000 that they're still working toward. And this is just one of the most amazing things. And we've been a small part of it. It's Louis and the church at Bradford that have done this, and Kingsley, they're over there doing the work. We're just a small part of it, but it's so humbling. It's just awesome for us to be part of it. And Louis, before we wrap up here, tell us about the alcoholic family in Bradford that's collecting the cans and what's happened to that, the people of peace, the people that are very influential in the neighborhood.
I have challenged our church to look for creative ways to raise funds for this ministry project, and my wife had come home and decided that we needed to collect aluminum cans, and through that we met a family in Bradford. We've met several families, but this one particular family, we collect anywhere from 1 to 2 large garbage bag fulls of cans every week.
What kind of cans?
Beer cans. And he is a functional alcoholic. He works a pretty good job, but he drinks a lot of beer, and a lot of friends are over there drinking beer every week and so forth. Several weeks back, it might have been 6 weeks ago, I received a phone call one evening, and there had been a 3-year-old child that had drowned in a pond in our area, in the county. And one of the other alcoholic families that we've been reaching out to called me and said, Pastor Louis, he identified himself, and he told me about this 3-year-old drowning, and he said, that is the niece of this first household that I mentioned. And he said, we have a lot of respect for you, and I know they don't belong to your church, but would you go to their house and talk to them? So I went over to their house, and I was there probably about 2 hours. And before I left, the lady of the house had accepted the Lord. And I see the wall that has been keeping this entire group of people from the Lord slowly beginning to crumble. Little by little, the Lord is taking out some of the mortar, knocking out some of the stones. But this household is the key to that entire group of people that do a lot of beer drinking together. If the man of this household comes to know the Lord, and the wife continues to share the gospel with the others. At our district assembly, the general church challenged us to project where our churches will be at 10 years from now. I was wanting to kind of keep my projection kind of safe because the Bradford church hasn't really grown at all over the last 20 years. And the Lord kept needling me to raise that projection. But it's all because of these alcoholics that we're ministering to, that I believe that the Lord will grow the Bradford church by 50% from where it's at right now. Strictly because my wife was faithful in accepting the challenge to collect beer cans. A most unlikely way of reaching out to a lost community.
It's amazing. Well, we're going to wrap things up. We're going to have communion. Pastor Louie and Pastor Kingsley at the end, they're going to be back. If you want to talk to them, there's plenty of time to do that. Ask them any questions you want. They're going to be available at the end. I have one more question to ask you. I asked you in my office, and that's what's the funnest, the most fun, the thing that you've done here that you've really enjoyed going where? You told me the city, remember?
Yeah. Coming to States, it's a very fun. It's my dream. I applied to Hollywood National University to do my Master of Divinity. Due to I'm not able to get a scholarship, I'm not able to do. Since my childhood, I was hearing about United States of America. I always said United States of America is a big thing for me to come here. And God brought me here. I don't know. I heard about New York, California, everything is and now like a couple of places. It's unimaginable that God brought me here. And I like California, first my place to be there. And God brought this place. I was just, can I take 2 minutes to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I brought up as a Christian family. My father is a pastor before joining Church of the Nazarene in 1982. After his completing his pastor degree, he became a pastor in Nazarene Church. He's the first Nazarene pastor in Tamil Nadu, in South India. Later on, when I'm growing up, keep on growing, I've seen my dad's ministry. I really got angry on Jesus. I never want to be a Christian minister. But since my childhood, my dad always says, Kingsley, that you have been committed to do ministry. You are committed to be a pastor in the future. Don't you be just on the one? I mean, he was encouraging me to be a pastor. But inside my heart, I does not want to be a friend. Because I have seen directly my dad how people are, getting, trying to attack him, broken his bike and everything. It's by seeing all this one, I comfort my family and my friend's family. They live very happily. They live in a big house. They eat very well, and all our house is kind of very tent and very small. By seeing why this one things. But compared to other family, and our family always has a joy. There's the other part. But when growing up, when I complete my 12th grade, I had a good mark, so I think I'm going to be a veterinary doctor. But my father said, could you remember that our family has decided to be? I'm the only son. I have an older sister and younger sister. I always say my father and my mother, they forced me to go to Bible college, not with my own intention. I want to use the word. They forced me. They said, you should be in the Bible college. They pulled my hands when I was at the age of 18. They put me in the Bible college. The principal asked Bible college, are we happy to be here in Bible college? I said, no. I want to go back. Welcome to Bible college, the principal said. I said, thank you. Then I was the first year I completed my Bible college without any interest. I went as a short time as a missionary for 1 month. There's a turning point in my life. I got a malaria. Later they find out it was a malaria. I was about to die. I'm almost died. I saw the hell, how the hell it will be. It's a very dangerous place. Never, I don't want anybody should be in the hell. I don't want. Even my enemies are, I don't know anybody. I'm just telling for example. Because hell looks very bad. I just saw that one. I just asked my dad, could you pray for me that I want one more chance in Jesus, that I will never receive back. I just always good friend. That's happened in 2003. I'm not praising myself that what I'm going to say. Since that time, I'm just very thankful to God. Drops.
You have seen the faithfulness of God, haven't you?
Can I stand?
Yes, absolutely.
I've been organized nearly 12 churches in India. I'm the one of the youngest ordained elder. My district did not propose my name for the ordination, but my field director and the general superintendent, Dr. James I. Dill, that he voluntarily come, he said that I want to ordain you. I received my ordination in the year of 2009. I'm just maybe like 20 years old. It's a very big thing in India, people getting ordination in the age of 29 before marriage. I think that why God wants me to live like this. I never see, since 2003, I never look back. The place name called Rajasthan, where I was a missionary, is the hottest place in India. You people cannot be there absolutely 100% to live in the place. Because to be an Indian, at least 2 times in a month, I get a bleeding in my nose. That I keep eyes on my kids, and my wife struggles so much in ministry. But we still want to keep the promise to I promise to God that I keep forward in my life. Moving forward. Unfortunately, I ask God forgiveness because the people want us to go back. They don't like us to be there and share gospels and give baptism. But still the church is growing because of one of the people. There are churches of the Nazarene. We are the first people to reach the tribal area in the people. They don't know how to eat. They don't know how to be. They don't know how to wear a dress also. Some people are they won't wear a dress there. There are lots of ups and downs in my ministries. But this time I never come to fundraise. My visit is not to come here to the States to fundraise. Just to say thank you. There is no other word in English, I don't know. You might have understand the way I speak English, it's not good. I just come here to say thanks. I don't know. Any other word? Because Pastor Louis and my father and Jai Kumar has a vision to build the kingdom in our community. The district asked me to come step into this project. I said, okay, I've taken time for a week. I said, okay, I'll do this project. Me and my wife find out, and the district is trying to various ways to raise funds, but they're not able to just go and visit the churches and say thank you and build a relationship. But I really appreciate my wife because I use the money which I come for here, my daughter education. She's in 2 years, 6 months. In the age of 3 in January, I need to put her in the school. as per the Indian government. I don't know from where me and my wife got the boldness to use my daughter education fund for this airfare. Then we used this airfare for my 16 to 17 month salary to come to this airfare. And again I'm telling, I didn't come for meat. Thank you so much for your support, for taking care of my affairs. And as a family, as a community, as a church, the India Western Tamil Nadu district, the board of districts want to say the heartful thank for bringing changes in our community and bringing smile in our kids' face, their family. You may not see, nobody cannot see your back, but others can see your back. I see your back that you people are great and and you are part of making Christ-like disciple, not only here. As I remember always, the book of Acts 1 says, the Holy Spirit comes upon you, not only this place, not only in Ohio, not only New York, but beyond, even in India, that you can witness. And you people are witnessing for that one. And you are sharing. We never openly share a gospel. Through our act, that people are coming into Christ. And thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to come over here and being part of our ministry. And again I'm saying, I don't have any other words except to say thank you so much for all your contribution and prayers. And we look forward to develop our partnership in the days to come, to see more development ministry in our place. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a privilege and a blessing to work with you guys. And we'll continue to pray for you and Louis and everything that's going on. We look forward to partnering with you even more in the future. Kingsley, would you close us in prayer, please?
Can I pray in my language and can I say my Lord's Prayer in my language?
Absolutely.
And I request for all stand, please. நல்ல பிதாவே, இந்த மாலை வேளைக்காக நன்றி செலுத்துகிறோம். வானமும் பூமியும் ஒழிந்து போனாலும் உங்களுடைய வார்த்தை ஒரு நாளும் ஒழிந்து போகாது என்று சொன்ன உங்களுடைய வார்த்தையின் பிரகாரமாக நல்ல மாலை பொழுதிலும் உங்களுடைய சமூகத்திலே வர கர்த்தர் கொடுத்த கிருபைக்காக நன்றி செலுத்துகிறோம். அருமையான இந்த சபையில் உள்ள ஒவ்வொருவரையும் கர்த்தரை மட்டுமா நீர் ஆசீர்வதித்ததற்காக நன்றி செலுத்துகிறோம் சுவாமி. அருமையான போதகரையும் அவருடைய மனைவி, அவருடைய குடும்பங்கள், சபையில் இருக்கிற ஒவ்வொரு விசுவாசிகளையும் கர்த்தனை பேர் பெறாய் நீர் ஆசீர்வதித்ததற்காக நன்றி செலுத்துகிறோம் சுவாமி. நாளிலும் உங்களுடைய ஊழியத்தின் பிரகாரமாக அடியை அழைத்து வந்து உங்களுடைய ஊழியத்தை பகிர்ந்து கொள்ள கர்த்தர் கொடுத்த நல்ல கிருபைக்காக நன்றி செலுத்துகிறோம். இப்பொழுது இந்த மேதையில வைக்கப்படுகிறதான இந்த ராபோஜனை பந்திக்காக ஸ்தோத்திரிக்கிறோம். இந்த அப்பத்தையும் இந்த திராட்சரசத்தையும் கர்த்தர் நீர் ஆசீர்வதிக்கணுமா ஸ்தோத்திரிக்கிறோம். ஆண்டவரே, இது நாங்கள் உண்ணும் பொழுதும் இதை பானம் உண்ணும் பொழுதும் ஆண்டவராகிய இயேசு கிறிஸ்து நீர் மீண்டும் வருவேன் என்று சொல்லி விசுவாசத்தோடு இது நாங்கள் பருக உண்ண கர்த்தரின் உதவி செய்யணுமாக நன்றி செலுத்துகிறோம் சுவாமி. உங்களுடைய கரங்களை இந்த சபையை முழுமையாக ஒப்புக் கொடுக்கிறோம். கர்த்தர் நீர் ஆசீர்வதிக்கணுமா ஜெபிக்கிறோம் சுவாமி. இயேசுவின் மூலம் ஜெபிக்கிறோம் நல்ல பிதாவே. ஆமென். Let's all say the Lord's Prayer. பரமண்டலத்தில் இருக்கிற எங்கள் பிதாவே, உம்முடைய நாமம் பரிசுத்தப்படுவதாக, உம்முடைய ராஜ்யம் வருவதாக, உம்முடைய சித்தம் பரமண்டலத்திலே செய்யப்படுவது போல பூமியிலையும் செய்யப்படுவதாக. எங்களுக்கு தேவையான அன்றுள்ள ஆகாரத்தை எங்களுக்கு தாரும். எங்களுடைய பாவங்களை மன்னித்தது போல நாங்களும் பிறரை மன்னிக்கிறது உதவி செய்வோம். எங்கள் சோதனைக்கு உட்படாமல் கர்த்தர் எங்கள் உதவி உதவி செய்வோம். உங்களுடைய ராஜ்யமும் வல்லமையும் மகிமையும் என்னென்றைக்கும் நன்றி. ஆமென்.